Hi, it's that time of year again. I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year. Hope you all had a good Christmas. I did. It was nice to get away from work for a few days, although that's going to be back on full force on Wednesday. It's been a very hectic year this year, 2018. A lot of travel. And obviously, having got my foundation ham license at the end of the previous year, some ham radio activity, some ham radio related purchases. I got rid of some radios that I might be starting to regret now. So yeah, it's been a very busy year and different really to previous years. I mean, in terms of travel, so I was in Florida in May, and then in the summer I was at a conference in Nantes in France, another conference in Dublin, I was in Switzerland, and obviously at the end of the year I was in Brazil for a month, which is fine, all very good DXing opportunities. In Switzerland I couldn't hear anything except on long wave, it was so noisy. And you've probably seen the videos from Florida with the D808 on the beach and the noise on the SDR from our apartment building. And hopefully you've seen some of the videos from Brazil, which sort of culminated in my D808 sort of blowing up, which was a major pain, but it led me to buy a couple of other radios in Paragominas. And there's some on the MIDI MD55, and there's some videos on the channel of using that radio now. I didn't bring it home with me. I gave it to the son of my friend over there, the guy who actually gave me the Sony ICF SW7600G last time round. So I only used it for a few days and then gave it to him, but you know, he'll cherish that radio, I'm sure. So I think that was the right thing to do. Seems like a long time ago that I was building those sort of magnetic induction long wave and medium wave loop antennas, and copying some North American DX on medium wave, and some excellent signals on long wave. But that was actually, I think that was in March, so that was actually nearly a year ago. And then in terms of the amateur radio stuff, I set up the ELAD with a kind of portable telescopic transmitting antenna, and nobody could hear me, on 5 watts with this antenna stood on a tripod in the back garden, so that was a complete failure. So I ended up purchasing, well actually no, I tried to build an inverted L and that had a fault in it, and then I didn't have time to fault find it and fix it, so in the meantime I purchased the ICOM IC756 superb transceiver from Radio Cruncher, and set it up on our test bench at work with the SCX80 wideband telescopic antenna, and made 30 or 40 voice QSOs in and around Europe on 10 watts, which was amazing. We also used a G5RV with the ICOM, and made some voice calls. And it's quite amazing actually, on 10 watts. We made contact with an operator on the east of Moscow. So when they say that you can work the world on 5 or 10 watts, it's certainly true, but obviously conditions of propagation permitting. What I then did was set up the ELAD for FT8, which is effective at 5 watts, and so I did that for a while, and then I bought a Yaesu FT991, and now use that for FT8, with a view to using that in the future as a sort of slightly more portable transceiver for voice. This coming year I'm going to try and get my intermediate license. It's kind of work dependent, but because I'm going to be travelling again, but I'm going to try to. But no matter what, you know, I'm always going to be a DXer at heart, so I'm never going to stop listening to the radio, that's for sure. What I have done though, and I'm sort of maybe slightly regretting it, is I sold a few radios to kind of help offset the cost of buying the ham radio gear. So I had two Sony 2001 receivers, so I sold one. I sold an SW55 because I had two of those. I sold an SW100 and I had two of those, but I had one with the notch to stop the ribbon cable breaking and one without. So I sold the one without the notch and kept the one with. I sold the ICOM IC-R20, which is a great, really great wideband scanner. I love that radio, but for my purposes it was almost useless because the audio bandwidth filter was so wide. I mean, you know, I used it on DX-peditions and copied great signals from North Korea, etc, etc. But as a sort of serious DX machine, you get better results on a Texan PL310 ET. Seriously, it was useless as a sort of HF DXing radio, so I got rid of it. And I also got rid of my Eaton E1. Well, when I say got rid, a friend of mine had expressed interest in buying it from me if I was ever going to sell it, and I kind of ummed and ahed about it for quite a long time. I was planning to do some serious testing with it, but the problem with that radio is that because it's supposed to be the best DXing or the best shortwave portable ever made, when I managed to get hold of one, it felt very precious, and it felt too precious to take to the woods in Oxford and get dumped in mud, as I had been doing with my Sony ICF SW55 for a long time, you know. And I don't know whether it's a very robust radio or very fragile. I erred on the side of caution and assumed that it might be fairly fragile. It's not sort of radio you can chuck in the back of a, you know, in a backpack. And so because of that, it never really got used. You know, I made a few recordings here in the shack using it, but there's no doubt it's a superb radio, but it didn't actually ever get any use, and this guy really wanted it. And you know, they're worth quite a lot of money now. You know, these radios go for like 500 quid, and you know, that offset more than offset the cost of the ICOM IC756. So in the end, I sold it to my friend. And some of you actually probably know that. I'm sure some of you do know that guy, but I won't mention his name. He can let you guys know who he is if he wants to. So that's the first of the radios I've sold. That's the one that I am kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't have done that. The other one is the PL880, which I got for Christmas last year, and I sold it a couple of months ago. eBayed it because I just didn't use it. Now at the time I thought I didn't really need it, because I had the Eaton Satellite, which I think is an equivalent radio in terms of performance, and then of course the XH Data D808 came along, and then I had two radios that I felt were, you know, its equivalent or close enough. And as I said, I wanted to offset the cost of this ham radio equipment, so I sold that. And now I'm sort of thinking, was that a good idea? Particularly as my D808 blew up in Brazil. Okay, so I've managed to get another one. I've just published a video on that, but I'm thinking maybe that wasn't such a good idea after all. Time would tell. The bottom line is I've got lots of radios. You know, everything that anybody needs to know about the PL880, everybody already knows, because you know, people like Mateus and Tam and lots of other people have used that radio and have published videos using it. So it's really, you know, from my point of view, the only value added really is for if people are interested in hearing my opinion on it. And my opinion on it, I'm sure, is going to be the same as Mateus or Tam or everyone else. I know it's a very good radio. You know, so and I'm, you know, but saying that, I still in the back of my mind thinking, was that a good idea or not? You know, and the same with the Eaton E1, because you know, basically I've let go probably the best shortwave portable ever made. In saying that, part of the reason for doing that was buying this thing, the JRC NRD 525. This is like my dream radio when I was a teenager back in the 80s. You know, even more so than the Yaesu FRG 8800. This set the standards for you know, hobbyist level communication receivers, and probably some of you have seen the videos. It is absolutely superb. I'm sure it's the equal of, and probably better than, the Eaton E1 overall. Okay, it's not portable, but then the Eaton I felt was too fragile and too precious to carry around anyway. So okay, so I've lost an Eaton E1, I've gained an NRD 525, and I think probably the NRD 525 is superior, you know, in my limited experience. So this radio kind of offsets my feelings of, well, did I do the right thing or not, you know. So there you go. So the other thing, the other difference this year is that I was kind enough to be offered the opportunity to write for Radio User magazine, and to date I've written 4 articles. The first was a review on the Texan S8800 on this thing. This isn't actually the receiver I reviewed. This is a receiver that was sent to me by another radio aficionado a long time ago, actually, and I don't know if he wants it back or not. He needs to kind of write to me. So I wrote a review on that radio, which seemed to go down pretty well, and then I was asked to write a review on the SDR Play RSP1A, because obviously I'd had quite a bit of experience using that, and that was superb. And then I wrote the article on low-cost DXing, so that's about portables out in the field, obtaining very good results, and that was a really popular article. Apparently, that article was so popular that at the Ham Fest, or whatever it was, they sold out. So that's good. I'm pleased about that. And then I wrote the article on the BHI inline module. So this is the signal conditioning device, which was pretty good actually. It's not the holy grail for DXers cleaning up weak signals with lots of noise, but there's no doubt it's a useful device. And they ran the unit that I tested. They ran a competition to win that. So you know, which was nice. I hope whoever won it enjoys it and gets some good use out of it. I'm sure they will. So that's the year really. I mean, I don't script these channel updates, so I'm sort of having to sort of look through and just make sure that I've captured everything. I think I have. Yeah, as you know, I love the hobby. It became more difficult. You know, it's becoming more difficult to upload as many videos. I looked this year. I uploaded about 640 videos. Last year I uploaded 701. So you know, my output has reduced slightly this year, but then I've been, you know, work is like incredibly busy, so you know, it's not always possible to upload 2 or 3 videos a day. So my output has basically dropped by about 10% from last year, and I don't know whether it will drop again. All I know is that, you know, I love the hobby. I'm going to carry on doing this. You know, I want to get my intermediate license because I also enjoy the ham radio side of things. But ultimately, you know, I'll always be a DXer, and I'll always listen to the radio, and I'll always have a log on YouTube. So coming into 2019, so it's going to be dominated by travel again. There's another conference in France. I've got to go to Texas because we bought a small company, electronics company in Texas that, well, they make spectrometers, but we bought a company in Texas which is now a subsidiary of my company, and so as the MD of my company, I've got to go there, and you know, so I'm overdue really. So I'm going to be in Texas. I'm definitely going to be in China in sort of February, and no doubt, and then I'm going to be in Monterey at another conference in April-May time in California. And then I'm definitely going to be in Berlin in July, August. So I'm definitely not going to be back in Brazil. That was my 4th trip. But I'm sending a couple of guys that work for me if we end up out there again this year in 2019, which I think we will. So there's going to be more travel. I'm going to be traveling with the Megaloop FX for sure. There isn't, as far as I know, a better portable antenna for DXing than the Megaloop FX. I know there's the Mega Dipole, which is, under certain conditions, the equal of the Loop and sometimes better. But the problem with the Dipole is that it's just a bit trickier to set up. Whereas with the Mega Loop, you can literally just hang it on a fence or hang it off a tree or whatever, you know. So I prefer the Mega Loop, but don't discount the Mega Dipole. They're both superb antennas. You know, Bonito, NTI continue to make some really good kit. And if you're the type of person that enjoys a DX-pedition and wants to get the best results, get a Mega Loop and take it out somewhere really quiet. And what you've effectively got is a completely transportable Wellbrook ALA 1530 or thereabouts. The performance, you know, there's not much big difference in the performance of those two antennas. You know, I think the Wellbrook's just maybe just edges it, but only just. But the Mega Loop FX is completely portable. I literally had this thing collapsed in my suitcase. I had the wire in my suitcase, the box in my backpack. Took it to South America and back again, no problem at all. It's just the sort of radio that, it's just an antenna that you can literally take anywhere. So it's superb, and it'll be coming with me on all my travels this in 2019. In terms of new radios, so I don't have any new radios really that I can share. I mean, obviously the NRD 525, you've seen some videos on that. I have a new portable, but it's the D808. So I don't have any new radios right now that I could test and put on the channel. So here I am thinking, well, you know, maybe I should have kept the Texan PL880, because then I would. But I do have some radio. I have the ICF 5500M, which is an old 70s radio, which hasn't appeared on the channel yet. It doesn't have long wave because I think it was designed for the American market, which is a bit of a pain, but it's still a nice radio, and at some point I'll test that. The ICF 2001, so the original 1980 radio, you know, at some point I want to test the capabilities of that properly. I did a test last summer. I recorded some videos in the back garden, but that's kind of useless really, because the original 2001 is so susceptible to background noise, you know, to QRM, that it's unusable in the house. It's much more susceptible to QRM than the 2001D or any of the other Sony portables that I own, which makes it kind of useless at home now. I mean, obviously when it was designed back in the late 1970s, you know, the noise floor wasn't, you know, minus 100 dBs like it is now, or minus 110. It was probably more like at minus 140. But that radio indoors doesn't work anymore as a product. It's pointless. So it needs to go out on a DX-pedition. And that's what I'll do with that radio. At some point, I'll take it out with a long wire and see what it can do. So that, you know, that will definitely be of interest to me. And I think I want to take the ICF SW55 out again. It's been quite a long time since I used that radio, and you know, I want to take that out on a DX-pedition again. The Eaton Satellite, which I used in Nantes, but since then doesn't really get any use. So I think, you know, I want to have another go with that radio. But I think for me, ultimately, what I've got to do is I've got to try and get hold of a new radio that I can test. So actually, what you guys could do to help me is, if there's a particular radio that isn't sort of too expensive, you know, a portable radio that you want to see tested, then I'll buy it and then I'll test it. So rather than me dictate, if you guys, you know, if there's a consensus in terms of what you'd like to see tested, then let me know, and I'll do that. So I think that's probably the best idea. So yeah, so that's about it really. So 2019, as I said, a lot more travel. So videos from sort of around the world again. I carry on. Propagation on medium wave for transatlantic DX has been rubbish the past few days. I've been sort of having a listen out with my ELAD and my Perseus, and you know, it's been rubbish for me here. But at home I'll continue to monitor medium wave and look for some medium wave DX. And then other than that, you know, you'll see a lot more videos from me during my travels. The other thing I should actually mention is that although I've been back from Brazil for a couple of weeks now, I'm behind on my video uploads. So there's video uploads coming onto the channel from my time in Brazil, because I'm basically behind schedule. So there's more from the SDR Play RSP Duo, and I think I'm done with the D808. There's a couple more videos using the MIDI MD55, you know, the cheap radio I bought in Paragominas locally. So there's more on that. So yeah, you know, like I said, I love this hobby. You know, my thanks to everybody, all the friends and subscribers. You guys know who you are. I can't mention names now because it would take like 3 hours to do that. You know, but you're the guys who I speak to on a regular basis. I don't get around to people's channels as much as I should. I know that. You know, it's just almost impossible because I've got over 2,000 subscribers. So it's very, very difficult to get around to other people's channels, but I will endeavour to do so. Yeah, you know, I can only apologise for that, but it's just so difficult because there are so many of you. But it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate your efforts in commenting on my videos. You know, I do appreciate that, but I also understand if some of you are in the same position as me that you just can't get around to doing it. You know, I get that as well. The bottom line is, for me, the channel really is my logbook, because I'm too lazy to keep a written logbook. So everything that I hear that's interesting, I record and upload to the channel. So the channel is basically my logbook, and so you know that. So I'll always, while I'm listening to the radio, I'm going to be using the channel as my logbook. So you know, you can listen, have a watch and listen if you want to or not. But those that do, I appreciate it. So so that's about it. Yeah, let me know if there's any particular shortwave portables that you think you know, that you like to see tested, that don't cost £1 million, then let me know, and I'll be happy to buy one and test it. Otherwise, if I don't hear from anybody, I'll just have to choose myself, and probably what I'll do is buy another PL880. I don't know. We'll have to see, but yeah, you know, try and let me know. Try and give me an idea if there's something worthwhile to be tested. So that's about it. So like I said, I hope you all had a happy Christmas. I wish you all a very happy New Year. And I wish you the best possible DX. Okay, so I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.